Good afternoon. Hi, Francois.
Hi, Sanwabo. Hi, Patience. Good to see you.
How's UK today?
Oh, we got good weather today, so we're quite pleased. We got a bit of sun after a couple of weeks of grey weather. So yeah, hopefully the Easter holiday is going to be a sunny holiday. So we're happy about that.
Patience, good afternoon. As always, we've done this for a long time now with Patience. How's Netherlands?
We are doing amazingly good here in the Netherlands. Good afternoon, Snowball. Good afternoon, Francois. I am really so excited and very happy to see you all. And I am really looking forward to this presentation because it has been really the talk of the day in all the social media. So I'm really just so happy to see you guys.
Look, I think let's welcome Francois officially. Francois is from the UK. Francois is the founder of an organization that specializes in the branding space. He runs a consultancy called Acacia. I've got it right, Francois?
Yeah, thank you so much for this very kind
And
introduction, Sanwabo. Yes, thank you.
yes, Francois has got over 25 years in the industry. So sit back and listen. Let's all learn. Let's see how we can make a difference in branding or enhancing our brands and ensuring that our organizations live and achieve the purpose that they were set up to do. We've got a tendency of losing the purpose why the organization was set up in the first place. But Francois, if you're one of those people 5 years, 6 years down the line, the purpose is not clear anymore and your positioning is not as what you thought it would be. Francois is a person, is an expert in the space. Let's give Francois an opportunity to walk us through what is branding with a purpose and branding for basically for the future, making it future proof. Francois, up to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunwabo and Patience, for having me on your show and for this lovely introduction. I'm delighted to be with you all today. I'm quite excited because I think we've got people joining us from all over the world. So without further ado, let's get started with this today's topic, which is building a future-proof brand. So I will share my screen with you and hopefully, I believe, can you all see my screen now? Hopefully you can see the blue
We are
screen.
there. We are there.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
here with me
Yeah.
today. Fantastic. So yes, let's jump straight in because this is a very exciting topic and I believe we got quite a lot of interest via social media for this particular topic. So today we talk about building a future-proof brand. This applies to any kind of business, by the way, whether you're a startup, a small business, or an established business. Before we jump in, I will go through a couple of housekeeping rules. Sorry, my screen seemed to be frozen. Can you see me, guys?
We
Yes.
can
Yeah,
see you.
yeah. I think. Sorry, I seem to have a little screen issue at my end. Um, I'm having a little rainbow on my screen. Right. So bear with me. I don't seem to be able to go to the next slide for some reason. Um, hmm. Can you see the little rainbow on my screen?
No.
Well,
We
where
can
my mouse
see
is,
we can see your mouse is moving.
yeah, but where my mouse is, I see a little rainbow circle, and when I click to the
Yes, it
next slide,
is. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
but it doesn't
buffering.
let me. It doesn't let me go to the next slide, which is hmm. I'm not sure what
So
happens.
maybe you can
Yeah,
stop and then re-upload again and
yeah,
start
maybe we'll do
again.
that.
Yeah.
But I don't even seem to be able to quit the presentation. Sorry about that. Stay with us, guys. We're having a tiny little technical issue. Which proof this is live, isn't it? Which is not pre-recorded, so we deal with things as they are. Um, yeah, I mean, my world screen is frozen suddenly. I'm really sorry about that. I think I might have to leave you for a minute, if it's okay, Samwebo and Patience, and
It's
come
fine.
back
You
on
can.
the show. Yeah, I think I'll have to quit StreamYard for 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, let's start again.
Snowball, I
Are
don't know
you
if
are
Francois
you
is
winning, Francois?
frozen like that, I think. Okay. Yes.
He's got a connection problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, as we were saying, so what's happening from the agri-tech side, Sisi?
Uh, the agri-tech side, it will be amazing for if our farmers can actually, or our producers can really join this program to really know how to brand their product. Of course, we also do branding, but our own branding is just how to make the product fit. But Francois is actually the expert in this field, and he will really share with us exactly what is branding and how to go about that, be it with your product or with your business. I am really also looking forward to learning a lot from him. And with the agri section, it is actually going well, and we have a lot of new producers joining our Eurafric network to export their product abroad. So it's really exciting.
Thank you. And while we're waiting for Francois, there's training that you're going to be offering very soon.
Yeah, that will be on the 19th of April. So next week, Tuesday. It would just be to really teach producers as well as exporter as well as tech companies just how you can access new markets with your solution. And I'm really looking forward to sharing this experience and knowledge with everyone so that you can just use this for life and have it for yourself. Thank you.
I see LinkedIn as well is giving an error.
Uh,
There's a technical error on LinkedIn. It says 15 minutes early, more than 2 hours late. We're not more than 2 hours late.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to sort things at mind, but somehow when I started to share screen and go on presentation mode, the whole thing got frozen at mind. Okay, so I'm back. I think this is the proof that we're live. This is not pre-recorded. This is no trick here. We all make time to be with you here today, guys. So let's try again. So hopefully this time the technology won't let us down. You know what we say? We say technology is wonderful until it stops working, isn't it? So let's jump in
Yes.
again. So hopefully you're gonna see my screen in a few seconds, and hopefully this is not gonna freeze this time. I believe you can see my screen. I'm gonna go into
Can see your screen? Yeah.
yes.
presentation mode. All right, I think, yeah, it is not happy. It is really not happy with okay, I think, you know what, I've got an ID that's going to enable us to still enjoy this presentation to the full. I'm going to quickly turn this presentation into a PDF, and then I will show
Yes.
it to you as a PDF.
Exactly. That would be better.
Yeah. So are we back on LinkedIn? Are we still a bit
I'm trying to fix LinkedIn because this is the first time it says, I think is that issue where we change the time because of the time zones. People must listen on YouTube. In the meantime, I'm trying to fix it.
but you know, it's alive, so you know, and I think people are we're dialing from quite different countries and time zone. So let's see how it goes. Right. So what I'm going to do to make sure,
One thing I can tell you on Twitter, it is running, and on YouTube, it's running right now as I'm talking to you.
Right. So please bear with us, Guy. We are doing our best. We're in 3 different time zones with some Webo patients and myself. So we're coordinating things in 3 different time zones. We're also in different continents. So yes. So hopefully this time.
One person is sitting in the Netherlands, one is sitting in Mzansi, in a place called GQ. and Francois is sitting in the UK, in the Queensland.
Yes. So definitely. So I'm so delighted. We've got people from all over the world. So sorry to keep you waiting, guys. Hopefully now I should be able to share my screen without breaking the internet. Hopefully, we're gonna try not to break LinkedIn, Facebook. Right. I believe you can all see my screen. Or
It's still coming.
We can see your screen, and
onto full screen.
you've got Asia area saying hello.
Oh, hello as well. Yes. Can everybody see the slide on my screen with blue slide?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can see the
Yes.
slide.
Right,
can
and I think
see.
we built some kind of momentum, suspense, and excitement. We can finally start this presentation building a future-proof brand. So before we jump in straight away, a couple of housekeeping rules, please. I really want you to get the most of today's webinar because this webinar is basically the best of 25 years of working in the branding industry internationally. So I will ask you please to put your phone and social media on silent mode. And this presentation will only be 20 minutes. So if you have any questions, please do share them in the chat, whether you are in LinkedIn, on Twitter, in Facebook, in YouTube. Please do contribute. I want to make it as interactive as possible. Also, there's going to be some time at the end of the presentation to answer your questions. Because it's going to be a PDF, I'm going to slightly change how I'm going to present certain things. But without further ado, let's get started. Right. So I've got a little quiz for you. First, I believe we've got people dialing from all over the world in different time zones, and it's really exciting for me to be in front of such a great international audience. So very quickly in the chat, can you type where you're dialing from and how are you feeling? For example, myself, I'm dialing from London, and I'm feeling quite excited right now. So well, you can type your name as well, yeah, who you are, where you're dialing from, and how you're feeling right now. What do we see in the chat, Patience and Sunwebo? Do we see some?
We've not seen any movement yet. As we've said ourselves, we're dialing from South Africa.
Wow, South Africa, fantastic. Do they say is it from Cape Town or John?
There is a gentleman, Tula. He says, "Afternoon, guys. Tula Mkunu from South Africa."
Wonderful, Tula. Good to know that you're with us, and thanks a lot for bearing with us when we're sorting out technical issues. Yes. Who else?
We've got Essia dialing from Morocco. Feeling great.
Oh, wow, Morocco. It must be wonderful weather right now in Morocco. Anybody from Netherlands, Patience? Do you see any?
No, not yet.
No?
But I am here from Wageningen in the Netherlands.
Yes. Right. I thought your neighbor was coming. She is not coming today, is she? Your next door neighbor is not with us.
Certainly join.
Oh, right. Okay, but just to say, we've got people from all over the world, and we've got students, we've got academic, we've got business people, we've got entrepreneur, and we've got a range of people. So let's get started. Today's agenda is going to be quite straightforward. First, we're going to look at what is branding, because it's a question I get very, very often. So I will clarify once and for all what is branding for everyone. Then we will see as to why is branding vital for growth, which is very, very important to understand, especially in today's world. And then I will share with you how to get started with branding. And I will share with you two powerful strategies. So please bear with us until the end, because what I will share with you is two powerful branding strategies you can use regardless of the size of your business, of your industry sector, or where you are in developing your business. So I will show you how you can really use branding powerfully for your business. And I will also show you an example on how an independent South African business managed to stand again free of the world's biggest brand and succeed. So please bear with me. There's going to be quite a lot of content and quite a lot of insight to be shared today. So I've seen a couple of people in the chat, which I know, but for people who don't know me, I will briefly introduce myself. My name is Francois Régnier. I am the founder and creative director of Acacia. We are a branding consultancy based in the UK, but we work internationally. We are all about brands with purpose. What we mean by that is that our mission is about enabling ambitious businesses to accelerate growth. So if you want to sell more, if you want to make more profit, if you want to grow your business, talk to us. Personally, I have over 25 years of international branding expertise, so I'm not really new in that field. And I've been really fortunate because through my career, I've been able to work on location in Belgium, in France, in Germany, in Switzerland, and of course, in the United Kingdom, where I am based today. So very briefly, here is some of the most well-known brands I've been lucky enough to work with. For example, I've been working with Barclays and Deloitte in the UK. I've worked with Disneyland Paris in France. I've also done a lot of work with Mercedes-Benz in Germany. And I've been also lucky to work with Smart in Switzerland and also other brands. So really, I've been lucky enough to get in-depth branding expertise through over 2 decades, which I'm sharing with you today. But we're not all about business. We also want to make a positive contribution in the world. And what we do, we actively support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah, they are very well known. It's an international program running worldwide, and it's about 17 goals to build a better world, a more sustainable world, sustainable economy. It's about more education, fighting disease, poverty, and really building a better world. And we support proactively 2 of the 17th goals. We are involved in supporting quality education and decent work and economic growth. We believe that the business we work with, our successful business growing, has a key role to play in building sustainable community by creating jobs, by paying tax. So in order to support this goal, I'm involved with Virgin. I am a Virgin startup mentor. So basically, I mentor entrepreneur in the UK, and basically I help the next generation of entrepreneur to build a successful business. I'm also a guest speaker at the Kent Business School. I've been doing some presentation on employment and how to secure employment when you're a graduate. We're going to also start a series of webinars with the City of London for entrepreneurs, which are going to be monthly. And also, I'm going to be soon be involved with Side Business School as a guest speaker and do presentation about branding with them. So I think just a little presentation about me, but now let's get started in earnest. What is branding? I just thought it's really important to clarify first what we mean by branding. Let's face it, we all know that branding is important, but we all somehow have slightly different definition of what branding is. So let's have a little game. I have a question for you. What is your definition of branding? Yeah. So please type your answer in the chat, on Twitter, in YouTube, in LinkedIn, on Facebook. There's no right and wrong answer. Don't be shy. In a few words, how would you define branding or explain what branding is to somebody else? And Sunwebo, patience, let me know what kind of answer we're getting. I'm very excited to hear what our lovely audience has to say.
We are waiting. I think people are still thinking.
Yeah.
People must not be shy. There's no answer that is wrong.
Yeah. How about you, Sunwebo? What will be your definition of branding, for example, if you had to explain to somebody what branding is in a few words?
Look, in few words, when you've got a product, it's how branding is your packaging of your product that you have, so that it must appeal to your potential clients or end user or the consumers out there, depending on your commodity that you're selling.
Yeah, no, that's very good. Thank you, Sunwebo. And as you so rightly say, it's very much about your audience. Yeah, it's really about engaging with your audience. Patience, would you have the same kind of definition, or would you say something else about what branding is?
I look at branding as the way that farmers, for example, because I always relate it to my audience, how farmers can actually perceive their product, say be it avocado, whether it is organic or that, because with branding, it really creates this visibility for your product in international markets.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How about in the chat?
From Elias, Elias, please tell us which country you're connecting from. Elias says it is a public perception of your company.
That's a fantastic definition. That's really, really good. And we don't know where Elias is dialing from. We're not sure where he is. But yeah, thank you so much for contributing, Elias. Any other
And
contribution?
let's greet Koho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from Ghana.
Okay. So yeah, as you can see, these are all great definition of branding is. And the point I was trying to make is that we all know that branding is important in order to grow a business. But if someone asks us to define what branding is, we sometimes I'm not quite sure, or we'll have a definition.
Ashia says what you are known of, your reputation.
Yes. And this is really insightful, what Insia is sharing with us. So what I will share with you is a definition of branding I've been using for years, which is quite to the point, because I believe branding should be simple. We're all about making branding simple. So my definition of branding is the process of creating a positive perception of your business in people's mind. Yeah. And really much your brand is your reputation. And it's very much what Eshia was saying earlier, isn't it? So in one word, your brand is your reputation. And I think this is really important to really be clear about that, because often I talk to businesses who tell me, oh, we don't really have a brand. But you cannot not have a brand in the same way that you cannot not have a reputation. Yeah, people will always have a perception of you and a perception of your business. And your brand is like your reputation, is that you cannot control your reputation, but you can manage it and influence it. And I'm sure we all agree, like, by nurturing a brand, building a brand, we really proactively take action in maximizing, our reputation and managing our reputation in the marketplace in order to attract the best clients, the best employee, and the best opportunities. So yeah, thank you for everybody who contributed in the chat. But I think I'm really pleased with this discussion. So now we really need to see, why is branding vital for growth today in 2022? And there are three main reasons. The reality is that no branding means no differentiation. Yeah. If your business only has something to sell, if and the only thing you have to talk about is what you do, it gives you a limited point of difference. And I will expand on this in a couple of minutes. Also, today, everyone is competing for attention. We often forget how much competition there is out there, especially outline. And the last point I'll make, which is, if there's one thing I would like you to remember from this webinar, this: products don't make profits, but brands do. So let's have a look. No branding, no differentiation. So what I mean by that is that, a quick search on Google will show you that there is like thousands or hundreds of thousands of sometimes millions of people doing exactly the same thing. If you are an accountant, if you are a farmer selling avocado, if you are a tech company selling software to book ticket to the cinema, or any industry sector, you will find there's going to be 100,000 or millions of people doing exactly the same thing as you do. And you don't want to be lost in a sea of competitors doing exactly the same thing as you do. So to differentiate, your brand is vital for growth. Your brand is your point of differentiation. You really need to keep this in mind. The second thing is that today everyone is competing for attention, and we often forget how much competition there is out there. I will show you some data, but it's often forgotten. I have a quick question for you guys in the chat as well. Just have a guess. We all love Instagram, but how many Instagram posts are liked every single day? Yeah, we've all done it. We're on Instagram. We like a picture. We like a video. We press like. So how many things do you think this happen every single day? Please type in the chat just a number, yeah, and what's your best guess as to how many posts are being liked on Instagram every single day? Patience on Weibo, did you want to have a guess, maybe?
I think thousands, if not millions.
Yeah. How about you, Son Weibo? Did you want to have a guess, like an exact number, or?
Well, I think it varies per day, but I think it's a day it's over 1 million.
Yeah, yeah. How about in the chat? Are we getting any guesses?
Um, we've got a
Million.
Agatha. Agatha says millions, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
We've got Wemi, who says 11K plus.
Mm.
We've got Asia, millions.
Yeah, yeah, Ashia, thank you for contributing again. Yeah, yeah. So,
We've got Elias, who says 1 billion plus.
yeah, 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 we're getting closer. So I made a bit of research and I actually found the
We've got
answer.
Wemi Woods, who says millions.
Millions, million. Yeah, we all know it's a big number. Yeah. So I had to dig some data from Google. Shall I share with you how many? Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So it's actually there's 42 billion likes on Instagram every single day. That's a
Wow.
staggering number. Yeah. And it's only for Instagram. And this data, I got it, it's data, official data from 2022. Yeah. 2020, pardon, couldn't find one for last year, this year from 2020. But as you can see, it's a staggering number. So today it's even more. And, I know a lot of businesses, especially food business, farmers, or, fashion business, they often use Instagram as their main platform to advertise what they do, which is great. But you need to keep in mind how much competition there is out there and how hard it is to get people attention. One thing people often forget, which is really important, is that when you're online, your competitors are not only people who sell the same things as what you do, but it's everybody creating content online. So, for example, if you have a small business and you're trying to attract people to your Instagram page or get people to like what you do, you're also competing with some, a 14-year-old boy in America who's doing some very funny video on TikTok and who's trending at the moment. So everybody was getting your audience attention, even if they're not selling what you do, they will, make it harder for you to attract customer and to attract interest to what you do. So there's never been so much traffic online, never been so much data. So this is why here again, if you have a limited point of difference, if you don't stand out, you will struggle to be visible. And this is why branding is vital for growth, because branding enables you to maximize your visibility and to differentiate effectively from competitors. Another slide regarding data. So, today everyone competes for attention, and on average, a social media user will scroll through over 96 meters of social media every day. So, when we scroll on our phone, yeah, up and down, that's the height of Big Ben. It's actually higher than Big Ben. So every single day, we scroll through the height of Big Ben on our smartphones. On Facebook as well, 350 millions of photos are uploaded daily. And on YouTube, there's over 500 hours of video uploaded every minute. So as you can see, these numbers are staggering. So I often hear about small business saying, oh, we're going to buy some Facebook ad or things like this. Yes, that's a good idea, but you need to be aware as to how much competition there is going to be if you try to advertise on Facebook, and especially if you don't differentiate with a strong brand. So really, the key takeaway here is that without a strong brand, you have a limited point of difference. And if you don't differentiate, you won't be as visible as you want to be. And online, I'm afraid invisibility is no good, because invisible businesses don't grow, invisible business don't attract clients. And now we're going to go to the last reason as to why branding is vital for growth. And the statement I'm making is that products don't make profits, brands do. What I mean by that is that in today's digital world, being good as what you do is not enough to build high growth businesses. If you want to sell a lot, if you want to grow, if you want to maximize profit, just having great products or great services is no longer enough to stand out. Yeah. Because there's just so many people online doing the same thing as you do. Yeah. We often think as entrepreneur, like whatever we do is the best in the market, and it's only right that we should believe that what we do is the best in the market. But the reality, there's always somebody around the corner who's going to try to undercut you, try to sell the same things cheaper. but there's also lots of experts, yeah, and there's always new and new competitors. So you have to be aware that just having a great product or services is no longer enough to grow and have a highly profitable businesses. And I will show you why. Here is an example of two products we all know: a black T-shirt and a watch. Yeah, and in the United Kingdom, where I live, if you want to buy a black T-shirt, you can buy it from so many places. You can buy it online, you can buy it in a supermarket, you can buy it in a market. You can buy a black T-shirt from so many places, and you can buy a good quality T-shirt for around £10. Yeah. Same if you want to buy a watch. If you want to buy a good quality watch that's going to last you several years, for £100 you will get, a decent watch. And the question is, why pay more? Because it's really important for the people today. We sell a product. If you're a farmer, if you sell beauty product, but also if you sell an expertise, if you're an accountant, or if you sell any kind of expertise, people will only pay so much for a product or services. But when you are a brand, you can charge pretty much anything you like. Yeah. And I will show you how, because people will only pay so much for standard T-shirt or standard watch. But when you are a brand, people don't just buy your product or your service, they buy your brand. For example, this is a Burberry T-shirt on the left-hand side. Burberry is a luxury fashion brand, a British fashion brand, which is known internationally. If you want to buy a simple black T-shirt from Burberry's, this is going to cost you £320, yeah, which is very expensive. But the reality, when you buy a T-shirt from Burberry, you don't just buy a T-shirt, you buy into the Burberry brand. And you might think it should be very hard to sell a T-shirt for that price. But no, because these T-shirts are always out of stock. People are queuing to buy this T-shirt because they love the Burberry brand so much. And this is what I'm saying. If you try to sell a basic T-shirt, you can only sell it for so much. If you try to sell a T-shirt with a brand on it, you can increase the price dramatically. But the price that applies to any kind of product. Same thing with a Rolex watch. I use this example because Rolex is probably one of the most famous brands in luxury watch. In the UK, the cheapest Rolex watch will cost you £8,000, yeah, which is a lot of money to buy a watch. But when people buy a Rolex, they're not buying a watch. They don't just want the time. They want to be associated with one of the most well-known luxury brands for watch in the world. And this, if you try to think about how this applies to your business, yeah, in your business, if only what you have to sell is what you do, people will only pay so much for what you do, because they will compare your price to what other people doing the same thing as what you do charge. Right. And the harsh truth, because today there's so much competition, especially online, and we've seen earlier how many people there is online, how much traffic there is online, no branding means no profit. What I'm saying, you still can have a good business, but you will never be able to charge as much as you want, and you will never be able to be the leader in your market, the one who's making the biggest profit margin, if you don't have a strong brand. Yeah. And if you think about it, regardless of your industry sector, the market leader is always the leading brand. Yeah. Think about it for a moment. Whatever you're selling, when we talk about market leader, think about who's the most successful business in your industry, the business everybody knows, and you realize it's not only about what they do, they're also very well known, they have a great reputation, they have a great brand. But when you have a strong brand, people will queue to buy from you. Here's a very well-known example, which is the Apple Shop. Every year, when Apple release a brand new iPhone, people will queue overnight in all the capital cities in the world, in Paris, in London, in New York, in Tokyo. People will queue overnight to buy the latest iPhone. Yeah. Are they queuing because they just want to buy a phone? No, they queue because they want to buy a brand. Yeah. And this is the difference between just selling a product and having a branded product with a respectable brand. The amount of profit you will make as a business is directly linked to how much people know and value your brand. So I hope it clarifies a little bit, yeah, as to first what branding is, and then why branding is so important if you are serious about growing your business. And I think keep in mind, there's never been so many opportunity as well, yeah, because of course there's a lot of online competition, but the reality now, as a small business, you can really easily connect with a worldwide audience online, and you can trade with with thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So there's a lot of opportunity, yeah. So the good news is it's never been easier to scale up your business if you are visible and if people value what you do. So now I'm going to share with you two strategies which are proven branding strategies, and which apply to any business. So whether you're a startup or an established business or a big business who's been around for years, and you need to somehow reassess what you're doing in order to increase your profit or maximize opportunities for you. And I will show you an example of a small African business who's been very successful in using these strategies. So if you want to get started with branding, the first thing really is an internal process. So you need to really meet with your team, the people in your company, and you need to think about two things. First, it's about having a strong purpose. And secondly, it's about outsmarting competitors. I will explain this. Having a strong purpose is very important. What I mean by that is that your business need to have a purpose which goes far beyond just selling something. Yeah. And if you look, for example, at all the most successful businesses financially in the world, if you think about Google, Apple, all the luxury brand, I mean, all the brands you will know, Sony, all the famous brand, they have a purpose far beyond just selling you an iPhone, a car, or watch. Yeah. And for us as a business, our purpose is to enable everybody who gets in touch with Acacia to live a best life and to achieve the maximum potential. This is why we help education, but also we help our client to be extremely successful at what they do by finding more clients. So our purpose is to enable other people to succeed. So you need to think about what is your purpose as a business. The second thing is that as a business, when you want to grow, you often feel you need to spend a lot of money in order to finance growth. But the reality is that you don't. And of course, you need to spend some money and to invest money in marketing and things like this. But there's always somebody around the corner who has more money than you, will be able to outspend you. So it's much more effective to outsmart competitors than outspend them. So I will show you how these two principles work in practice. I will have a little quiz for you. First, I have a question for you. Today, in 2022, does the world need another shoe brand? My question is, do you think it's a good idea to start a shoe brand selling sport shoes today in 2022? If somebody was to approach you and say, hey, I have a business idea, would you like to go in business with me and start a shoe brand, and we try to sell lots of sport shoes and make a successful business out of it? So just type yes or no in the chat, and I'll be curious to see what you think of that.
Let's see people writing.
I just want your opinion, yeah? First impression, yes or no, does the world need another shoe brand?
Asia says yes.
Thank you, Asia.
Agatha says probably not, but it will do it differently. But I will do it differently.
Very good contribution. Thank you.
Caleb says yes.
I can see we've got a lot of entrepreneurs with us today.
Clement says yes.
Yeah, I mean, as we can see, people are feeling very positive about it. So it can be yes, no. Would you say, from what you see on the chat, would you say it's like 50-50, or is it more towards the yes or the no?
It's towards the yes.
Yes.
99% is saying yes.
Wow. I think this is great. We've got a very positive, enthusiastic audience today. Entrepreneur, I'm sure, people with great idea. And I think I would like to thank everybody who's been
Says
contributing.
yes.
Yes. Okay. And okay, as an
Says
idea.
yes. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So we got a lot of yes. So does the world need another shoe brand today? And as an idea, maybe it's good, but whether it's bad. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you think about it carefully, I'm not saying do we want to start a business, but do we really need another business selling shoes? Isn't there enough businesses selling shoes today? And my answer to this question will be probably no. I don't think the world needs another shoe brand today. And the reason why is that the shoe market, the sport shoes market, is already extremely well provided for. On this diagram, you will see some of the world's most famous brands selling sport shoes. Yeah. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of them. So it's an highly competitive market. At the top of the diagram, we all see there is Nike, who's selling nearly 5 million shoes a year. Then we got Adidas, we got Reebok, we got Converse, we got Puma. So as you can see, it's a huge market with many, many competitors, and it's a crowded market. Yeah, there is so much competition already. So that's why, it's a good idea to start a shoe business, but it's going to be really, really hard to succeed. Because if you start a shoe business today, you will have to compete against Nike, Adidas, and Reebok. Yeah, because if you start a sports shoe brand today, anybody who wants to buy a pair of shoes will have to decide, are they going to buy your shoes or are they going to buy from Nike, Adidas, or Reebok? These three companies are massive. They are worth billions and billions of dollars. So the question is, starting a shoe brand today, how are you going to compete, and succeed against three of the biggest brands in the world? So when you look at it that way, it sounds like a very crazy idea to start a shoe brand today. Then again, he's a small business who managed to be very, very successful at selling sport shoes. Some of you might know Bafu, which is a South African footwear brand. They only launched in 2015, so a very young brand, just a few years old, but they already have 30 shops, brick and mortar shops. They're selling online as well, and they're selling 15,000 pair of shoes a month. And this is a great success story. But when you think about it, how did they achieve this miracle to sell 15,000 pair of shoes per month when there's just so much choice online and when it's so easy to buy Nike shoes or Reebok or Adidas shoes? Well, they did it because they use the strategies I've been showing you. They focused on purpose. So having a strong purpose is key to Bafu's success story. Bafus, they produce shoes, but they have a purpose far beyond selling shoes. So this is a screenshot of their website, and they're really proud of sharing with us what the purpose is. So the Bafu journey means a truly African sneaker brand. So they aim to be a sneaker brand that Africans can proudly affiliate with, a sneaker brand from Africa for Africa. They also believe in sustainable job creation. So you see, that's really a good example of a purpose beyond selling a product. Because when you buy Bafu shoes, you help in creating sustainable jobs for at least 100 people. So they support the local economy, and they very much as well reuniting hope and supporting their local communities and the local community. So as you see, it's about having a strong purpose beyond selling a product or making money. And this is what drives them. This is what gets them out of bed every day. And this is why people love the Bafu brand and why they will buy Bafu shoes instead of Nike or another brand. Also, it's about outsmarting competitor. And this is how Bafu has been really, really clever, because they know, and they knew when they started the business, they cannot go head to head against the three biggest brand or any big manufacturer who's been around for decades. Nobody can outspend Nike in marketing. Nobody in the world. So what they choose is to position themselves as a truly African shoe brand. And they have to be a brand that Africans can proudly affiliate with, a brand from Africa for Africa. And this is really, really clever, because by doing this, they outsmarted the competitors. For example, this is a screenshot from the Instagram page. And as you can see, they do these beautiful shoes inspired by African fabrics. And it is all about from Africa for Africa. And this is how they managed to outsmart the three biggest brands. Because who else is a truly African shoe brand? Is Nike a truly African shoe brand? Of course not. Is Adidas a truly African shoe brand? Of course not. Is Reebok a truly African shoe brand? Of course not. And as you can see across the logotype, because by transforming your brand, you will transform your business. Yeah. So what they did is outsmart the competitor by positioning themselves differently from any other business selling shoes. Yeah. And even Nike cannot claim that they are an African shoe brand. So if you want to buy an African shoe brand from Africa for Africa, you buy from Bafu. And this is how they managed to build an extremely successful business that keeps growing. So what I want you to keep in mind and take away from this webinar really is that don't sell a product, sell a brand. Yeah. So people will always pay more if you have a strong brand. People will associate with you more if you have a strong brand, if you have a strong reputation. So by investing in your brand, by building your brand, and by nurturing your brand, you not only become known, but it has direct impact on your pricing strategy. Yeah, the leading brand always charge more, and we're all happy to pay more for an established leading brand. And that applies whether you sell a product or a service. And what you can do is straight away after this webinar, in the next few days, meet with your team and ask yourself, what is a purpose? Yeah, beyond making money, what is really the purpose of our business? And secondly, what can we do to outsmart of competitors? Yeah, you need to think and act differently from your competitors, and how you communicate is key on how you outsmart competitors. So we're reaching the end of this presentation. So I would like to thank you for being here today. And I hope it was useful. We're running webinars monthly. Yeah, they are on different aspects of branding. I think the next one is going to be about brand identity. But if you felt that this webinar was useful and you would like more branding tips or branding strategy in order to grow your business, also if you want to get in touch with me, please do send me an email at hello@acaciauk.net, and I'd be delighted to hear from you. Our next webinar, I believe, is on the 12th of May. We also have some free tickets to give for a brand strategy session taking place next week. I've got 2 free tickets to give. So if you want to drop me an email with the detail, if you're interested, this is Easter next weekend. So yeah, we've got some free ticket to give away. So please do send me an email, introduce yourself, and let's carry on this conversation. And yes, I think that's it for me. Son Wabo, I think we might have some questions in the chat, I believe.
We have a question that I want to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is there any difference in how a startup or a large organization should approach purpose?
Oh, that is a very, very good question, especially today, because I believe we have a lot of startups and solopreneur and also more established businesses, especially professional service firms. And it is true that purpose is at the center of what you do, but how you approach purpose, or the challenge you might have when it comes to defining or communicating your purpose, are different whether you are a startup or a very established business who's been around, let's say, for 2 decades. For example, when you start a business, when you're a startup and in the first year or even couple of years of your business, often startups, they struggle to define and articulate the purpose. Yeah, so they have a great idea, for example, a new product, or even if you're a farmer, let's say, we're interested in selling fruits or avocado or a particular type of product, but really, what is a purpose beyond just trying to sell the product? And so the challenges tend to be defining the purpose, yeah, and really articulating the purpose so it becomes really, really powerful. Something like what Batu did. So the main challenge for a startup is defining your purpose. And this is how we help our clients. We work with quite a few startups, and they have a great idea, but they're not sure about how to communicate it with the world in a way which is powerful and make them stand out. Yeah. So defining your purpose can be a big challenge as a startup. On the other hand, when you are a very established business, and we've worked with so many established business who sometimes been around for like 20, 30, 40 years, is that after so many years in business, they tend to have lost their purpose sometimes. You'll be surprised, because what happened, the people who started the company have changed. There's been several people running the company, or there's a brand new managing director after the company has been running for 20 years. And somehow they are very successful, but they really forgot who they were, because they've been launching so many products and the world has changed. So when we work with very large businesses, we often help them to reconnect with their purpose and recommunicate the purpose or sharpen the purpose. Yeah. So I hope, does that answer the question?
Yes, I think you've answered the question. We've got one on the screen that you can see, Tulam Tunu. Can you see the question?
I'm still in presentation mode, so
what is the difference between branding and value proposition?
Yes, that's a very good question. With branding, when we talk about branding, it's the whole area, of managing your brand. Yeah. So branding is how you build and manage your brand, and value proposition is one aspect of branding. Yeah. So, for example, your brand is, for example, your brand identity, your visual look, your logotype, your website, your colors, your typeface, all this. Your value proposition is how you articulate your value. You need to articulate it verbally and visually. Yeah. For example, in the case of Bafu, the value proposition is shoes from Africa for Africa. Yeah, a brand from Africa for Africa. So made in Africa for the African market. And this is the value proposition. Yeah. So they don't just say, oh, we're making shoes, they cost $50, please buy them, because that's not be very interesting, isn't it? So your value proposition at your business, and to answer the question, this is something as well, an exercise you can do with your team, is really ask yourself, what is our value proposition and how could we express it in one sentence? And when you have a strong value proposition, you can use it everywhere. Yeah. If you look at Bafu, value proposition as well, they got this strapline, walk the journey. Yeah. It's on every single shoe they have. There is this little tagline, so you can even put your value proposition on your product. Yeah. If you sell, for example, a farmer, if your value proposition is that you will sell the freshest fruit or the organic fruit, or they come from a particular place, then this is as well your value proposition. So your value proposition doesn't necessarily have to be something very complex. Yeah. It doesn't have to be something very totally unique, but the way you articulate it must make it quite different from the competitors. Yeah. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, Francois, thank you very much for that. And what is from Asia again? What is the psychological side of buying brands? The real purpose of buying brands? Question mark.
Yes. That's a very good question. The psychological. Okay. When you have a brand, you create an extremely strong emotional connection between what you do, your business, and your audience and people who buy from you. Yeah. If you don't have a brand, you won't have a strong emotional connection. Yeah. For example, Apple is a very good example. Yeah. People are very strongly, some people really love Apple and they feel really strongly connected with the Apple brand. It's an emotion. Yeah. And especially if you sell a product, we're looking, for example, earlier at a t-shirt. If you don't want to, if you buy a basic black t-shirt for very little money, there's no real connection to it. Yeah. People might just need a cheap t-shirt because they need to do some work outside and they need, something to wear. But if in fashion, for example, when people buy a very beautiful piece of garment from a very well-known fashion brand, there's a strong connection. So this question, the psychological effect of branding is that it creates a strong emotional connection between your customers and your business, and also it nurtures brand loyalty. And brand loyalty is very important, especially today, because whatever you sell, your clients will constantly be approached by competitors. Yeah. And what you want to make sure is when people buy from you, and of course you're going to give them a great product, a great experience, you want to make sure they buy you again, and they don't say, oh, there's somebody here who's next door who's doing something similar, a little bit cheaper, I'm going to buy from them instead. No, when people strongly connect with your brand, they will keep buying from you. So basically, your brand is your reputation, and this is how you create a very strong emotional connection between your business and your customers.
Thank you. I hope Asia is happy. I hope Tula Tunu is happy with the answer. And we've got Uchechi. I hope I'm pronouncing her name properly. She is saying not too many African brands. Yes, we agree. But as you are saying, if we're all listening properly from you, is that if you know and you've got the purpose, you've got the value proposition properly done in your head or in your office, you can start a techie brand as well. That is African, and you need to just position it properly so that it can compete well or sustain itself against the big brands.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I totally agree. But if you look online, there's actually quite a lot of upcoming African brand. And don't forget as well is that, when we think about the most well-known brand in the world, of course, a lot of them, they might be American brand, for example. But sometimes you got some very, very successful business. For example, Bafu, maybe some people in America might not know this brand, but they're very well known in their market. Yeah. So whichever country you are, you can be a very successful brand, let's say in Kenya, which is not very well known outside Kenya, but in your country, by enough people and respected by enough people as a business, so you have a very profitable and successful business. Yeah. So when you have a brand, what is important is to be very well known to your audience. Yeah. When these big brands like Coca-Cola and Apple, obviously they want to be known worldwide, globally. But if you're a small business, don't feel under pressure to feel, I have to become like Apple. No, you don't. You don't. You need to be known by enough people so you have a highly successful, profitable business. Yeah. And if you, for example, in France, there's where I'm from, France, yeah, there's some French brand which are totally unknown outside France, but who have been existing for like hundreds of years in France. Yeah. But if I was mention some names, people in the UK, they tell me, oh, I never heard about this company. Yeah. So there's some great African brands and some very, but some upcoming internationally known African brand as well. So yes. So don't, keep pushing. You'll get there.
Thank you, Francois. I think we'll be doing an injustice if Patience does not say anything about agriculture. For you also to answer something for a startup. Patience, please, let's hear how Francois deals with your agri-tech space.
Thank you so much. I was really waiting. I was just like wondering, will this session really end without me addressing some of the concerns that my farmers do have? Okay, some of these farmers, of course, they find themselves in farmers group. Others, they operate as an individual. So, what are the tips for these farmers that they need to know in order to brand their business? Of course, they are there to sell avocados, but beside avocado, how do they go about this branding, which is really something that they want to show their reputation in order to enter the EU market, which I will have to help facilitate that for them.
Yeah, no. Thank you, Patience. That's a great question. And I hope, some of the ideas I've been sharing are helping as well. But I think a farming market is a very good example because, as a farmer, obviously, it's easy to think, oh, I'm a farmer. And I think if we talk about avocado, we say, I sell avocado, so I sell a product, so I don't have a brand. Yeah. And I think it's easy to think like that. But I think it's about looking at things a little bit differently. Of course, as a farmer producing avocado, you want to produce very high quality, delicious avocado you can export, in Europe or, all over the world. And you might think, oh, I'm just selling avocado and there's lots of farmers, in many other countries producing avocado. So how am I going to compete? And this is a perfect example as to when branding becomes so important, because if you say, you're just selling avocado and so many other people sell avocado, then you become a commodity, isn't it? Because then people think an avocado is an avocado and it's about the cheapest one will win. Yeah. But what you can think about is that wherever you are in the world, there's always something a bit different as to where you're producing the avocado from, how you're producing them. Are you a fully organic farmer, or do you sustain a local community? Or are you a family business who's been around from 2 or 3 generations? Yeah. So you need to tell your story. Yeah. Don't just say I'm selling avocado, but you could say, oh, we actually, a family businesses for like 3 generations. We've been producing different fruits and vegetables, and now we're specializing in avocado. And our aim is to produce a very nice, good quality avocado, that people will enjoy. And that starts, to create something that makes you a bit more different from anybody else. Yeah, that will definitely put you in very good position against, let's say, big companies, who have like massive farms and we produce avocado, like machines. Yeah. For example, in France, you will find wine producers. Yeah, and in every shop, supermarket, you will find hundreds of wine bottles. Yeah, but you have wine producer. They will tell you we're a family wine producer from like 3 generations, and we only produce that many bottles a year. Yeah, and that's why we charge quite a lot of money for it, because we have a proven process. So to answer your question, in a nutshell, pretty much the story of who you are and how you do what you do is as important as the product you sell. Yeah? Does that help, Patience?
Yeah, actually, it does help. And in addition to that, in order to access the EU market, you have to also include regulations because the EU are really very strict on regulation. And this is also what makes your product unique and can be accepted in the EU market. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
I think, Francois, at this point, we must say thank you very much. As we wrap up, I'm just going to read some comments for you. There is Asia again saying thank you so much. Very helpful ideas. Please let us know when is the next webinar. I think you need, in less than a minute, you just need to wrap up when is the next webinar. And I think I'm going to put you on the spot from a Pike perspective and say you need to come back. You've not covered the ground.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. I mean, I believe you got speakers every week and on different areas of how to grow a business and technology. But yeah, I'll be delighted to come back and maybe we can talk about another aspect of branding. I think the easiest way, we got a webinar next week for which I've got 10 tickets, because 10 free tickets, because it is a paid for webinar. The easiest way, if you want to keep in touch with me and Acacia, just send me an email at hello@acaciauk.net. Also, I believe there's a couple of questions we didn't get the time to answer in the chat. So if you have a burning question about branding, please feel free to send me an email and I will get back to you in the next few days. So the easiest way to keep in touch with us, you can go to our website, acaciauk.net. Yeah, you can have a look at what we do. So go on our website, but also don't be shy. Drop me an email, hello@acaciauk.net. We got one webinar next week on the 21st of April, and we got another webinar on the 12th of May. Yeah. So everybody who send me an email will get a free invite. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Francois. I think from a Pike perspective, we've got webinars or conversation sessions every Tuesday from 9 o'clock until 2 o'clock, which is normally different sessions and different conversations from tech to agri-tech, from youth insight on digital information or digital technology, from women in ICT, different discussions, Debna, for you to know how we and when are we going to have webinars or conversations. Please follow our social media platforms. We are on Facebook. If you go to Facebook and say search for Paicta, Paicta, you'll find us, and if you keep track and follow us, then you'll know when the webinars are coming. On our YouTube, we are at Paicta_Africa, and on Twitter we are Paicta_Africa. So we are available. We always share. We exist. Our mandate is to disseminate as much information as possible to people who do not normally have access to Francois, who's an expert who's been around the industry on branding for over 25 years. I think we've achieved our goal for today, and Francois can say for himself if he feels that we've achieved. I and Patience from Paicta and Euro AfriLink, we are saying to Francois, you talked about brand identity. You need to come back and cover brand identity. How do you know that your brand is has reached a point where it's brand equity? Some brands are real. You sell for billions, only the brand. Yeah, not the product, only the brand. Now, for us who are building businesses in Africa and anywhere else where you're watching from, how do you take your brand day one? How do you take your company, turn it into a brand, recognizable brand? How do you take a product inside your company? Because as a company, you'll always have different products. But how do you position the products that you innovatively come up with to be able to stand toe to toe with the brand of the company itself, so that when they see that name, they know it is definitely APC Enterprise? So I think, Francois, you need to come back and walk us through and let people understand, as Africa is developing, as Africa is accelerating into the future, I think people need to start companies with the brand purpose in mind.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'd love to come back, and hopefully in a few weeks, or we'll talk more about branding. I mean, it's a wide subject, but I hope today was useful. And think about your purpose and think about how you can outsmart competitor rather than outspend them. Yeah, I think that's a good starting point.
Can I put you on the spot, Francois? Paicta is a 20-month-old business. When you look at our logo and you look at what we've done in 20 months and digital footprint we've established, what do you think is missing?
Oh no, I was actually really impressed. I mean, if you hadn't told me that you've been around for a few years, I would have thought you've been here for decades. Because everything you do is very consistent, and you manage to establish a differentiated brand in what you do. So I think you pretty much nailed it. And obviously the fact that you run these events worldwide for an international audience is also a big part of building your brand and your reputation. But I would say I think we connected via LinkedIn, isn't it, a few months ago? So basically, you stood out, or I mean, it was through Patience as well. But your profile someone stood out on LinkedIn, and I looked at the website, and I thought, oh, here's an organization I'd like to partner with, and then this is how you kindly invited me to join today. But yeah, I mean, thank you so much to yourself, Sunwebo, and Patience for having me. And it's not often, I got the chance to speak to such an international audience in so many countries. So this was a great opportunity for me. As I said, I think there's a running bar at the bottom of the screen with my email address and with our website. So please do keep in touch. Yeah. If you had a question about branding that hasn't been answered, or if you just want to know more about branding or how we could help you grow your business, please do keep in touch. Yeah. And thanks again.
And just to say goodbye, it will be silly for us not to ask Patience to say goodbye. Patience, your turn.
Okay, I really just want to thank you, Francois, for this amazing opportunity to
Thank you.
actually just talk about branding. And I can really, in the course of your presentation, I really was going through our company also to see whether we actually feed or where we, or yeah, we aligned with what you are saying. And I'm really just so happy that what we are doing, actually linking African producers to European market, is really something that makes us really so unique. And I love doing this. I love to connect the two continents because I see that there is a lot of synergies between these two companies, and I'm just very happy that I have. Paita invited me also on this platform to be able to share my ideas, and I strongly believe we are stronger together.
Mm.
Thank
Yeah, stronger together. I think that's a great way to end. And definitely, we live in a world when we can only be stronger together through
you.
collaboration and partnership.
Uh,
Yes.
and our tagline, Francois, it says, "Paita, your African equity digital partner."
Fantastic, fantastic.
Anyway, have a good long weekend. Stay
Thank
blessed.
you.
Stay strong. Let's meet after Easter. Let's not do things that will put ourselves and our families at risk. Everyone must have a blessed rest of the long weekend. Thank you, Francois. Thank you,
All right.
Patience.
Thanks again.
Always lovely.
Bye, everybody.
We'll meet
Bye.
again. Thank you, everyone who's made time to come and sit and listen. And the video will be available on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thanks again.
Francois, don't go.